Today, we are excited to welcome Chalana Williams. Chalana is a Senior Vice President and Chief Community Development Officer at First Federal Lakewood. She joined First Federal Lakewood in 2012 and has more than 30 years of experience in the financial services industry. In her current role, she provides strategic guidance in the deployment of capital in the Northeast Ohio and Columbus markets. And as part of the senior management team, she shares in developing and executing the organization's strategic plan. And she also oversees financial education programs conducted in communities that provide empowerment through knowledge of basic money management skills and the steps to take to becoming a homeowner. As a leader that is deeply committed to community, Chalana has served on many boards, including Western Reserve Community Development Corporation, Shoes and Clothes for Kids, and Northwest Neighborhood CDC. She currently serves on the board of directors for Lakewood Alive and Cleveland Clinic South Point Hospital's Community Wellness Committee. She appears in the 12th and 16th editions of Who's Who in Black Cleveland, and she was recognized in Crain's Cleveland Business Magazine as one of 2024's notable Black leaders. And we are proud to have her in the current class of Leadership Cleveland class of 2026. Please welcome Chalana.
Thank you, Rachel. Hello, everyone. Again, it's so great to be here and see so many familiar faces. Thank you for coming out today. And I'd like to also thank the Cleveland Leadership Center for extending the invitation to me to talk about a subject that I'm very passionate about, and that's financial education. But to start, I'd like to say that First Federal Lakewood, we're a community bank, and community is truly at the heart of everything that we do. As a mutual bank, we're locally owned, so that means we don't have to answer to shareholders. Can truly focus on our customers, on our neighbors, and on the communities that we serve. And because of this approach to community engagement, we can be very intentional on what we do when it comes to engaging with the community. Some of our areas of focus when we're out in the community are affordable housing, workforce and economic development, the support of small business, and financial education for youth and adults. And then across these areas of focus, we partner with nonprofit organizations, local leaders, municipalities, and local businesses to really get the pulse of what the needs are in the community to make sure that we're making the greatest impact that we can. So, for example, when we look at affordable housing, we work alongside with HUD approved certified agencies and nonprofit partners that help promote access to home ownership and housing stability. And by doing this, when we're, say, conducting first time home buying seminars, we're making sure that we're bringing all of the resources possible to set people up for success to reaching their goals. And then when it comes to my team, we spend a lot of time focusing on financial education. And in doing so, we look to work with students, young adults, families, and local businesses. We even show up in people's workplaces when invited by their organizations to provide like lunchtime learning programs for their employees. We do this because we want to show up to where people are and to meet their needs that way. And throughout this conversation, I want to provide like specific examples of what we do. And one example is our partnership with South Point Hospital, Cleveland Clinic South Point Hospital. As many of you probably are already aware, there's a great comparison and they align with themselves, that is financial wellness and physical well-being. So it was a natural fit for us to partner with the hospital to provide programming to help not only the communities that they serve, but also their staff. And so we have a really great relationship that way because we know that often it's not about the ability, it's about having access to the tools needed to reach your financial goals. Another example of that particular point is a community partner called Edwin's. Edwin's Leadership Restaurant and Institute. They work with formerly incarcerated individuals and they teach them the skill set of culinary arts. And so they can build careers that way. Well, we approached them, took the initiative, and offered programming to help their students with basic money management skills. But not only that, we also provide them with the opportunity to obtain checking accounts or savings accounts. And these checking accounts have no fees attached. And we really give them a chance, even if they've had issues in the past, say they're on check systems or something like that, we give them an opportunity to start fresh because that's so important that they gain the access to reach those financial goals as they occur. And by doing so, by giving individuals the tools needed and the resources, it helps to build confidence, which leads to better informed financial decisions. We also support our community partners by investments. We invest in their critical programming, we invest in initiatives. And one new partnership that we're excited about is with the Cuyahoga County Financial Empowerment Center. And this center is a one stop shop for residents offering support with budgeting, debt management, and also creating saving strategies. It's designed to meet people where they are, whether they're trying to stabilize their finances or build toward long term goals. And in doing so, it was a natural extension of the work that we at First Federal Lakewood were already doing. And so we were happy to support that, giving us additional ability to connect with individuals in a meaningful and sustainable way. At the end of the day, though, financial stability impacts so many areas of life. It impacts housing, employment, health, and even future generations. So we try to empower people to have financial mobility and also build generational wealth. And I know I've said a lot so far, but there is more. Not only do we show up in person to provide financial education, but First Federal Lakewood has also invested in an online program that anyone can access on our website, ffl.bank. And if you just be patient with me, I will share my screen and just give you an example of what that looks like. Here we go. So here, if everyone can see, welcome to FFL University. That's our brand for this program. You can create your own playlist based on what your needs are and what your interests are and your financial goals. And here is an example. Let me move this box out the way so I can see. Here's an example of some of the topics that you can take: financial foundations, building financial capability, investing in your future, preparing for retirement. There's one here that you would never think was there: financial caregiving. Many times people are caregivers now, and you want to be able to make sure you're utilizing the resources, financial resources that are available to help you with caring for your loved ones. And even you'll find a topic here about financing higher education. So it's all about what your what your needs are and what your interests are. But what's so cool about that is that it doesn't take up a lengthy amount of time. The modules are brief and you can go at your own pace. So you don't have to complete everything in one setting. You can come back and take the whatever modules you want. So please feel free to check that out and recommend it to family and friends too. But it goes back to First Federal Lakewood's commitment to financial education for the community as a whole. Because when we invest in financial education, we're not just helping individuals, we're helping strengthen entire communities. And at First Federal Lakewood, we see this work not just as an initiative, but it's a responsibility that we see. And we're always looking to build additional relationships with people with organizations, with leaders that share the same passion that we do and the same commitment. So if you want to reach out to me and have a further discussion about how we can engage with the community together, please feel free to do so. So now, with that being said, I'd like to turn it back over to Rachel.
Chalana, thank you. Let's dive in with first kind of taking a look at First Federal Lakewood's community engagement strategy. How do you decide your priorities, and how might those priorities have shifted over the course of time that you've been with the bank?
Mhm. So the priorities, as I said, we have certain priorities, strategic priorities, and those priorities also dictate how we engage, but also how we support financially different community partners. And so when it comes to like outreach to nonprofit organizations or municipalities, I base it on, does it fall in line with affordable housing or the other buckets, small business, workforce, and economic development? And we do so much when it comes to uh, in those areas, engaging our community in those areas. For instance, when it comes to volunteerism, First Federal Lakewood, they give our employees a certain amount of hours each year to be out in the community volunteering. And when I'm and my team, when we are out in the community talking to organizations, one of the things that we ask, are there opportunities for volunteerism? And sometimes that looks like mock interviews or mock interviews. It could be resume writing clinics, maybe food pantry, distributing food and so forth. Um, and we also put those opportunities out on a calendar on our intranet so that everyone can, employees that is, they can access those opportunities that resonate with them. So when it comes to volunteerism, when it comes to lending and investing, I prioritize those initiatives based on those pillars that I mentioned.
And as you are creating opportunities for education in the financial literacy space, what are some of the biggest needs and challenges that you're hearing from the community?
For financial literacy, is that
Yes,
what you said?
yes.
I, well, debt management is a big one. People, a lot of times too, we try to inform people about home ownership because many times a person may not be aware that it's even something that could be attainable. So we educate on things that may not be so at the top of the mind and informed. And then also, we find that, uh, as I said, debt management, credit is also an issue, a big issue that people want help with. And that's when our partnerships with the HUD agencies, credit counselors, come into play. And because we're bankers, we're not certified credit counselors, but we can give, like an overall high level overall view of what it takes to build and maintain credit. But then we have these partnerships in place where they can dig deeper and help a person not only build their credit, but also maintain their credit.
And as you think about partnerships that you have or partnerships that you're seeking, what are some of those new opportunities that you might be looking for to build better collaborations, build better partnerships?
Mhm. So I feel that there's a need when it comes to partnerships. I try to communicate that it can be a two-way street. So we can bring services and products to the community and to organizations so that they can service their communities as well. But we can do even more than that. We can actually help the organization financially too. So we have products and services that we talk about on the treasury management side. When it comes to deposit relationships, we also look and have communications about that, so that it's not just about it's not just one-sided when it's just the community at large, but it's also about sustaining the actual organization so that they can continue to provide good to the community as well.
And you mentioned a big collaboration with the Financial Empowerment Center. Can you
Mhm.
share more about the purpose of the center, who all is involved, and what have been some of the early takeaways since it's opened?
hmm So I initially was working with Dr. Victoria Berry. She's the program manager of the center, and County Executive Chris Ronayne is definitely also on board with the center. And we were approached about the center a year ago or two um, in the planning stages. And the purpose started off being because in the city of Cleveland, there were tax delinquencies and people were losing their homes. And so the need was assessed to help people with financial education and resources to help them stay in their homes. And so that's how it started to be built out. And we already have programming in place. So it was kind of a natural fit for us to get involved. And looking forward, not only are we collaborating financially as a sponsor of the center, but we're going to be really involved in being present and talking to their attendees in the community that may have needs for financial education, budgeting, credit, and so forth.
And how will you know if the Empowerment Center is succeeding? Are there specific measurements for success?
I think it's too soon. This is a really new venture. And so it's too soon. And I don't know if I'm the right one to ask that, what their measurements are. But when it comes to us, first the bank, um, we're always looking to see people succeed in achieving their financial goals. And so we try to keep tabs of, the people that we work with and to see if we can get them into a sustainable checking or savings account, or if they are looking to buy a home, we will go back and check on them to see where they're at, in the process. What additional needs do they have, and how can we help? And I really, what I always say is that sometimes the help that I provide may take a person to in a different direction. It may not come directly to First Federal Lakewood, and that's okay because the goal is to help the community. And so if I can be resourceful and it doesn't really sometimes pan out where it comes back to us, it's still a win because we're helping the individual in the community.
And Chalana, you've had a career that has spanned in this space. What are some of those leadership lessons, much like what you just shared, that you've learned along the way as you work out in the community and work with folks in financial literacy?
Mm-hmm. I would say to take the initiative to open up your eyes and hear and to think outside the box. And really, that is the culture of First Federal Lakewood as well. I've been with the bank here at First Federal for 13 years, going on 14. And that was what attracted me initially was the culture and of thinking outside the box and not holding a person in time. Sure, everyone has hiccups, but they should not be held in that time space. Give them the tools and the resources needed to achieve their financial goals so that you start with them and it trickles down to generations, as I said before, generational wealth. Um, and then, as I said earlier, sometimes it doesn't, benefit me or the bank, but it's still a win when we can help a person to get to where they want to be in life.
Through your programming, are there any types of opportunities for young professionals or students who would be interested in learning more about financial literacy?
Oh, I thought you were going a different direction. Yes. So we work. So let me just say this because I don't want to forget my thought because I thought you were going in this direction. Um, we find that sometimes students they don't know that there are viable careers in banking. And sometimes they need help and guidance as to what they want to do. And so we go into schools, we do career fairs, we talk about careers in banking because many times even adults they may not know, there are more careers than what you see in the branch, as far as the branch manager, loan officers, and so forth. But there are also other careers in like legal, law, accounting, marketing. And so we try to educate young people so that, because a lot of bankers, you'll talk to bankers and they say, oh no, I didn't come out of college thinking I was going to be a banker, but it's room to be more intentional. Banking is a great career choice, and there are a lot of directions that you can go into. And so we try to inform young people about those choices. But now going back to your question, um, it was financial literacy, and could you
Really
refresh my
looking
memory?
for young professionals, college students who might be interested in learning more. What kind of programs might you have for them?
hmm So, an example, we work with the Ohio Bankers League, and they have a program for college students looking to enter banking careers. And every year, we'll go. They have a like a boot camp outside of Columbus, and we'll go there and we'll do like a financial literacy session with the students, and then they are assigned. Internships with different banks, including First Federal Lakewood. And they can explore different job options, career options in banking through the summer, the several weeks that they are in the program. And it gives them an opportunity to not only learn about financial literacy, financial education, but also about career paths.
Now, First Federal talks very openly about being a mutual bank. Can you explain what a mutual bank is and why that structure is so important to First Federal Lakewood?
Yes. So mutuality is a mutual bank is taking the is sharing, right? And so we take the deposits of our customers, we reinvest it back into the community to support and to sustain neighborhoods and local businesses. And mutuality is so important as a community bank because it gives us more access to be helpful, to be resourceful in the community. In fact, we even there in the past there were opportunities to help smaller mutual banks stay in existence, and we have a mutual holding company, which is like an umbrella of the member banks that exist under this mutuality that we're trying to promote. And it helps sustain smaller banks. It helps them to stay running. It's cost effective because we share services such as HR and marketing, things that could be costly, but it falls under the holding company's infrastructure. And so all the member banks benefit that way. But with mutuality, again, it's about sharing and taking, we don't have shareholders, but we have our customers, and we share those deposits, reinvesting them back in the community to support and sustain our neighborhoods and our local businesses.
And Chalana, if you look back over the nearly 14 years you've been with the bank, what is a success that you are most proud of?
I would say the fact that we are, my department that I head up is a small department, but yet we're mighty. I've had people say, "Oh, you're everywhere. Your team is everywhere." And really, it's such a small department. I don't even know how we do what we do. But actually, we depend, I'm proud of the fact that as a team player, and I promote team, leadership and, just getting together to collaborate with other internal business units. We get other internal business units involved in the community, and I'm mostly proud of that. Um, uh, I can actually say that we see a difference. We see an impact, in our numbers of who we're helping um, with home ownership, with attaining deposit accounts. And it's all through interacting with the community. And our culture, our bank supports us in being out there. So, along with my team, I can reach out to other departments and they help you know, reach our strategic goals as well. In fact, as I said, financial literacy is one of our priorities. We even have a financial literacy team that is made up of different team members from other departments, but they also share that passion. And so we're out there even more uh, meeting the needs of and the requests from our different community partners.
We have time for one last question. For those who are interested in learning more, getting involved, having a training opportunity, what is the best way to reach out?
Email. Email me. cwilliams at ffl.net. I could put it in the chat and let's meet, let's talk.
Great. Well, Shalana, thank you so much for the work that you and First Federal Lakewood are doing in the community. We are excited to see the outcomes of the Financial Empowerment Center and all the amazing work that you do. So thank you for joining today.
And thank you for the invitation.